And a short time ago, I was joined by the National Secretary of the Health Services Union. Cathy Jackson, welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
Did you witness a confrontation where a union official, Marco Bolano, said that he would ruin Craig Thomson by setting him up with prostitutes?
I've never witnessed such a confrontation or meeting or clash or whatever you want to call it. That has never occurred.
Did you witness any kind of confrontation between those two men?
Never.
And yet Mr Thomson said that he wrote to you about that confrontation. Have you ever received a letter about it?
I have never received a letter about any confrontation. If he has a letter, then he should provide it, not only to me, but to the Victoria Police or Strikeforce Carnarvon.
Are you aware of any union officials before Mr Thomson being accused of consorting with prostitutes?
No.
Are you aware of a conversation where another official, Michael Williamson, said that it was a common practice for the Victorian branch to do that?
No.
Do you understand where any of these allegations are coming from?
I think they're coming out of the mouth of a very pathetic and delusional man. This has gone beyond a joke now. It's a circus. So this bizarre circus needs to end, not only for Craig and his family, but for the Australian public just sick of it, and so are the members of the HSU.
Are you in part responsible for that circus, though, because you've made many accusations, and as yet Mr Thomson has not been charged with anything?
I take no responsibility for where Craig Thomson has ended up. What I do take responsibility for is cleaning up the HSU. The HSU East is a branch of the union that has deep-rooted corruption. That still hasn't come to light properly. Strikeforce Carnarvon are investigating, I think, quite competently, and they should be commended for their efforts to date.
But you helped set up HSU East with Michael Williamson, didn't you? So aren't you partly responsible for whatever corruption there might be there?
Not at all. As soon as I became aware of the corruption, I took my allegations to the police. I tried dealing with those allegations internally. Unfortunately, no one was willing to help me out. I had no other option but to go to the police and, of course, to the media. I don't see the media as an enemy. The antiseptic of public scrutiny is what's going to make sure the HSU members never get ripped off again.
Well, Mr Thomson's made many accusations about you, as you have of him. He points out that you drive a union-paid-for Volvo, that your childcare and gym fees are paid for, you've taken numerous overseas trips at the expense of the union, and that your salary doubled in the weeks after he left to $270,000.
I reject all those claims. And what I do say about the salary, I'm quite interested. What did he say? 2 weeks?
$270,000.
No, but did he say a week after?
Within
weeks. I can tell you my wage increase happened when we amalgamated, when we became part of HSU East. That's when I got a wage increase. I did not, when I became National Secretary, I went on the wage that he was on. The increase that I received was post-amalgamation.
To $270,000?
That's correct.
Doesn't that seem a little excessive for someone who represents some of the poorest workers in Australia?
I agree with you, but let's look at the history of this. As I've said previously, this was rammed through the council by Michael Williamson and his people. We objected to it. The Victorians ran a case against it to the council. It was in camera. I wasn't at the meeting. We were asked to leave, and the New South Wales councillors rammed this proposal through. At mediation last week in the courts, as part of that mediation process, I put my hand up and said that I should get at least a $100,000 salary cut, and that was rejected.
Is there a conflict of interest here because your partner, Michael Lawler, is the Vice President of Fair Work Australia?
No, not at all. And I reject that claim totally. And Craig Thomson's allegations are totally wicked against him. Michael Lawler is the Vice President of the Fair Work Australia, formerly the Australian Industrial Relations Commission. As Craig Thomson knows, the regulatory arm of the Fair Work Australia has got nothing to do with the tribunal. And for him to try and link him in to that is totally wicked.
Are you concerned at all about perceptions of conflict of interest?
Well, that's what he's trying to do. Craig Thomson is obviously trying to smear everybody to get himself out of the hole that he's dug himself into. My advice to Craig Thomson is to, the more he says, the worse he looks. So,
has Michael Lawler ever been involved with you in any strategy meetings for the HSU about any of the actions which you've got going?
Well, obviously, as my partner, I talk to Michael about what I'm doing, and as my partner, I talk to him about not just HSU issues, but other issues as well.
Is that appropriate?
I think it's very appropriate as my partner that I ask him advice and assistance, but he's not running the case for the HSU. I tell him what I'm doing and not the other way around.
Does Michael Lawler have connections with the Liberal Party, as Craig Thomson suggests?
Not that I know of.
Anything that might lead you to believe that he does?
No. But that's like when they said last week, made statements against me for, going to the HR Nichols Society. We live in a free society. I've got links in the Liberal Party. I've got friends in, that are Greens, Amnesty International. We live in a free society. We're allowed to talk to people.
You mentioned the H.R. Nichols Society. Who's paying your legal bills?
My legal bills are no one is. I'm paying my legal bills. I've got a $40,000 debt already that the union won't pay for. And Brett Shields, Fareed Asaf are doing all the work pro bono, and so is Stuart Wood.
Are you still using Harmer's workplace lawyers?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Well, because I went to every Labor law firm in town, they couldn't represent me. They were all conflicted.
And are they doing that work pro bono?
Yes, they are.
Are you aware that it's the same law firm that's representing James Ashby, the man who's accused the Speaker of sexual harassment?
I am now.
Doesn't it seem a bit odd to you?
No. Oh, well, why? Well, it seems a bit odd to me that Morris Blackburn is representing Peter Slipper when they're an employment law firm. Why isn't that strange?
It does seem that the two big cases that are going in Parliament at the moment should both be represented by the same law firm. Does seem, at the very least, to be just a touch strange.
Well, why isn't it strange that the Federal Office of the Health Services Union is being represented by Holding and Redlich, who are the same lawyers that Craig Thomson is using? And
why do you think Harmer's Workplace Lawyers is representing you pro bono?
I think they're representing me pro bono because they believe in my case. I'm not making this up. The allegations that I've taken to the police are serious and genuine. I've not made these allegations to set Craig Thomson up or to set anybody up. The allegations that I've made and continue to make is that the HSU East branch is riddled with corruption and we need to get rid of it. And I'm doing it on behalf of the membership. And can you put your hand on your heart and say that you've never destroyed any documents or has been accused of laundering money through other people's bank accounts? I can put my hand on my heart and say that I've never, ever destroyed documents. The documents just were not there and I do not launder money. Do you have any sympathy at all for Craig Thomson? I have sympathy for his wife and his family. And I have sympathy for him. I thought it was quite sad to see him in Parliament today being forced into this position. And he's been forced into this position because it's a hung Parliament. Otherwise, they would have given him the boot a long time ago. Cathy Jackson, thank you. Thank you.